last night. Now, they trailed by 25 at the half to the Blazers, the #1 franchise in the history of worldwide basketball, and folks, it ain't close. Then mounted a furious comeback led by LeBron, who dropped 37 with 11 boards. Lakers win 121-112. LA currently sits one game out of the play-in tournament. Lakers trailed by 25 and a half, tied for the Los Angeles Lakers' second largest halftime comeback in team history. That's quite a history, as I mentioned, trailing only a 28-point comeback against the Mavs in 2002. It's also tied for LeBron's largest halftime comeback of his career. His Cavs also came back from down 25 in Game 3 of the 2017 first round against the Pacers. We are joined now. There he is. Don't be a stranger. Big Perk, NBA analyst extraordinaire. Perk, you see this comeback win turning the Lakers season around?
I do. And it didn't just start last night, though, Max. In 2023, forget 2022. In 2023, the Lakers have been playing some of the best basketball in the league. And it's been a blessing in disguise for his AD injury, because we're getting the best out of LeBron James right now. I mean, he's on another level. We're talking about a guy in 7 years that's going to be eligible for his pension. But now you're getting a chance and the opportunity to see what others are able to do. Like Thomas Bryant, who has been a monster, who had 31 and 14 last night. And so you see Russell Westbrook elevating his game off the bench. You see Austin Reeves is out, You see the young kid and Troy Brown Jr. coming in and producing. I think the Lakers, listen, they're going to get into the play-in tournament, and they're going to get into the postseason. And LeBron James, I just can't say enough about him, but we'll have that GOAT discussion another day.
That old geezer is still balling out of control. It's unbelievable.
What you call him, Max?
He's almost 40 years old. You're not supposed to be playing basketball after 20 years like this. All right, Patrick Beverley had some fun with Damian Lillard late in that big comeback victory, Perk. What'd you think of that?
I love it, Max. I love it. Like, long as it's between the lines, you're not supposed to be friends. Like, I don't want to see the jersey swaps after the game. Like, I like this old school animosity because it gets you ready. Like, it lets you know that guys are out there competing. And they brought out the best in Patrick Beverley, which was a plus for the Lakers because he has been pretty much non-existent this entire season. So he actually needed this game. He actually needed this confidence booster. And I love this. Like, I love this energy. Keep it up.
All right, meantime, I want to get to this, Perk. I seen you tweeting. Kyrie and the Nets.
Reporting that the Lakers have agreed to a deal to acquire Washington Wizards forward Rui Hachimura. That's in exchange for Kendrick Nunn and 3 second-round picks. Hachimura was the 9th overall pick out of Gonzaga, remember, in the 2019 NBA draft. Here now with Woj. So, Woj, can you just back us up a little bit here? How exactly did this trade come together?
Hey, Malika, there were discussions as late as last night that included bigger trades than just a two-way deal with L.A. I was told that there were some three-way talks that would have involved Phoenix, but those larger trade discussions fell by the wayside, and then L.A. and Washington this morning zeroed in on the deal that they ultimately landed on, Rui Hachimura for Kendrick Nunn and those 3 second-round picks, a 2023 pick that L.A. has via Chicago, and the Lakers' own 2029 pick. And this was a player, Hachimura, who had wanted to be moved, did not reach a contract extension on his rookie extension this summer and into the fall with Washington, and wanted to be finishing games. That wasn't happening. And Kyle Kuzma certainly moved into a significant role in this Wizards front line. And I think for Washington, this is a chance for them, to move on from Hachimura and, get some draft capital back without taking salary back from the Lakers, and a Laker team now that obviously with Hachimura, gets a young wing player, wing defender, three-point shooter, a corner three-point shooter. He's shown some success doing that in the last couple of years, and I'm told the Lakers certainly would like to sign Hachimura to an extension this summer. He'll be a restricted free agent, but this, gets another young big wing in that Laker lineup who can defend and obviously make some open shots. They needed more shooting on this Laker team, and it's a player that they hope can help right away, and they certainly hope they can develop over time and into the kind of player people thought he would be when he was picked in the top 10 out of Gonzaga.
Interesting. So Rui Hachimura, you're reporting on his way to Los Angeles. Woj, thank you very much. I want to bring it out to the entire panel now here with Ramona Shelburne, Richard Jefferson, Chiney Ogumake. Kendrick Perkins is going to be joining us in just a little bit. Fix your face. Ramona, let's start with you here. What more can you tell us about what the Lakers are hoping to get with Rui Hachimura being added to this roster?
Well, they like that he's a big defender, 6'9", could play on the wings, and in that mold, like Markieff Morris, when they had him on that championship team, their analytics suggest that he has had good stretches where he could hit that corner three. And when LeBron plays with guys like that, he generally tends to elevate their games. And so they've had some success finding some good role players lately. Last night against Portland, Thomas Bryant, Dennis Schroeder, those are guys that they got for minimum deals. They did not have to do much with these guys, and they've found some gems. They're hoping Hachimura can be in the same role here because they think that he will play well next to LeBron James. They have enough guards.
Right.
But the way Dennis Schroeder's play, the way Pat Bev is starting to play, they have enough guards. Kendrick Nunn was expendable here. They need more size.
Interesting. Rich, your thoughts on this trade?
Why are you messing with me? No, listen.
Good job, baby.
It is an improvement. Like, Hachimura is a very good player. Like, again, you look at like Thomas Bryant and what he's been doing. I believe he was the backup to Rui or right before he got there. So, like, you look at the mold, he's a more skilled player, but similar effort, body types, they can do similar things. I like Thomas Bryant. It is an improvement over Kendrick Nunn. Like the second round picks, we look at the second round picks and say, oh, that's not a lot. But understand, the Lakers only have so many assets. So if you're taking away those second round picks, which do have value, maybe not the first rounds that everyone is talking about, but if you don't want to give up those first rounds, your second round is the only one that you have a little bit of leverage with. So you give away 3 for them. Now you're limited in those assets. And then you look and say, okay, is he going to make us that much better? Well, look, the Lakers were great comeback last night, but they are better with him, so I'll give him that. Is this a deal break, or is this a needle mover? Is this going to move him from 8 to 6? I don't think so, but it is a step in the right direction.
Yeah, I like the durability factor. I know apart from his, stretches where he's been injured, just by his size, his physique, we all know LeBron James thrives with shooting and also athletic wings. And then you look at the rotations, Anthony Davis coming back soon, Thomas Bryant obviously doing a great job, and then LeBron even playing the 4, technically in lineups. You insert him where maybe you're worried about AD's durability moving forward, but then now you have someone that can sort of split the minutes, can guard some bigs, can get out, stretch the floor, knock down a shot, because we all know the number one necessity to play great alongside LeBron James is being able to stretch the defense out so LeBron can get to the rim and do what he does best. LeBron will hit some jumpers, but he really wants to get to the paint. So I think this is one of those things where it's sneaky good because it's not like you're making huge risks with those second-round picks, and he's checking all the boxes necessary to, build at least us. They're not like a championship roster, but at least they're like more of a stable, contending roster if they're going to try to make the playoffs.
Contending what?
Meaning, if you're going to try to have stability and become a contender for the playoffs, I'm not talking about championships. You need to have a foundation
contender for the playoffs.
Thank you.
Yeah, this helps them be a contender
for the playoffs. Because how old is he? Like, what, 23, 24 years old?
Yeah.
If you develop him the right way, he has all the makings to be a solid player.
Right, and to your point, Adrian Wojnarowski reported over the weekend that Anthony Davis could be back in the Lakers lineup as soon as this week. Obviously, he needs to continue to test that foot. I'm curious, though, Kendrick Perkins, how would you grade this trade?
You know what? I give it a B+. I give it a B+. Let me explain why, right? When you look at Rui and you look at his size, his athleticism, and the wing position is the most important position in the game today. And so you have this young man who, I'm not knocking the Wizards organization, but they didn't have a LeBron James. And I'm not talking about a LeBron James on the floor. I'm talking about off the floor. So now this young fella could learn how to take care of his body. He had one of the greatest, if not the greatest, to ever play the game of basketball that he could communicate with, learn from, how to work on his body, how to work on his game, how to be a true professional. So it's good for the Lakers short term, and it's great for the Lakers long term, because now you have this young piece that you could mold and go into and develop him. And so it's great.
Yeah, that's a heck of a stat that's on the screen right now.
Also, let's give a compliment to Russell Westbrook.
Thank you,
They are
LeBron.
plus 50
Yes.
with him on the floor since that, and he's been playing outstanding. I know he took a lot of heat, so these are us vocally saying that he's been doing a great job since the absence of Anthony Davis. That being said, and the only thing I'll say, the number one issue for the Lakers were shooting. Now, this is a big that can shoot a little bit more than, let's say, like a Thomas Bryant. Agreed. So this is an improvement. But their number one need.
They don't even play the same position.
I'm just saying they play like the power forward, small forward role.
Hybrid,
they play the hybrid position, right? So the number one need was shooting. And I still don't think they addressed it. They're better in that position, but not from a 32 to a 42. They still have that gaping hole that they need to address.
Sure, but at the end of the day, it's relatively low stakes. They needed a big wing defender, and Rui could potentially fill that role. This kind of culminates, though. This has been a big, eventful couple of days for the Los Angeles Lakers. In case you guys missed it, they had a gutsy win last night. Let's head to Moda Center. Speaking of this one, Dame Lillard was the story of the first half. I mean, watch this. Dame goes, gets it to go, starts jawing a little bit back and forth with Patrick Beverley here.
Surprise.
Their conversation extends. And Rich, after this little, what do we call this, a kerfuffle?
This is when the kerfuffle started.
This is when the kerfuffle started, and then the Blazers went on a 38-1 run to end the half. So this is the point in the night where I'm like, cool, I had dinner reservations.
What was the run again? What was the run?
38-1.
Okay.
Time to go. Dinner reservations. 31 to 8. 31 to 8. 31 to 8.
There we go.
I was ready to go to my dinner reservation, and then the LeBron show.
Well, it was so impressive watching LeBron go to work. I was watching this game, and I was like, wait a second. Are they down? Because I was also watching the Warriors game. I was jumping back and forth, maybe a little bit of football, who knows? But the fourth quarter comes, and you're like, okay, the Lakers are on a run. But that run never stopped. Very similar to the Trailblazers running that first half.
Bryant hitting threes.
I know.
5 from 3.
And then LeBron backing down his man down low. Chene gets it to go.
Look, that's where he wants to go, and that's why, you know, adding a Rui is going to be important to be able to make sure he can keep doing this. But look at that, the effort. Okay.
Oof. I was speaking to Thomas Bryant a couple of days ago. He actually told me that Russell Westbrook has been a big part of his success, who's pushed him to run the floor. And then Patrick Beverley, I think he's saying his watch is broken.
He stole his clock. He stole his watch.
I'm sorry.
Now, Dave,
Game
I'm not
time.
going to disrespect you.
Let's take a listen to LeBron James after the game.
One or two ways you can either go out and you can just lay down and get ready for the next game, or you can see what can happen in the third quarter, make a game of it. And, you know, for us as competitors and our team and our makeup this year, we're not a lay-down team. It's just not the makeup of our club. So we came out and showed the makeup of our club in the third quarter, give ourselves a chance going into the fourth and turn it into a few possession game, into a couple possession game. Then one possession game was able to take the lead. I believe on was that Thomas 3 on the left wing. Finally took the lead. Yep. Yeah. So after that we just started trying to get some stops and keep building our lead up. From 1 to 3 to 5 or whatever the case may be, all the way up into 7 at one point.
So just to contextualize how crazy this comeback was, the Lakers' 25-point halftime comeback, the largest in LeBron's regular season career, that covers over 1,400 games. That's also just the third 25-point halftime comeback by the Lakers in the shot clock era. However, I mentioned that comeback was the largest of LeBron's regular season career, but let's flash back to the first round of the 2017 playoffs.
I had a great view of this one.
He also helped erase a 25-point halftime. This was Game 3 against the Pacers. James was plus 30 in the second half.
Cheering.
He posted
100%.
28, 7, and 6 after the break to lead the Cavs to a 119-114 win. Richard, we know where you were because this is how your numbers stacked up
100%.
against LeBron's in that comeback.
Yeah, well, see,
were there.
No, this is one of those things. This is the group that got us back into it, and like a true great coach, Tyronn Lue, he went with the unit that went going. If we want to start looking at plus and minuses, I played 4 minutes. I had nothing to do with the 19-point deficit. I had nothing to do with the 19-point comeback. That's just the truth. So I was watching, I was like, these boys might get, who else? There's lots of players over there. It was beautiful to watch.
No.
You were
He was in the G League at the time. Let's not talk to the G League player. He was in the G League right now.
No, you was a minus 12 in 4 minutes. That
Yes.
means Ty Lue gave you a shot. And they have an old saying, if a coach give you
You know
1
what?
minute,
I
give
was
him
more
a
of a
reason to
finals
give
guy.
you
I was
4
more of
minutes.
a finals
And
guy
what
than a
what
first
happened,
round.
What happened was you wasn't cutting the mustard.
For
You wasn't
4
cutting
minutes,
it.
I didn't take
He
a
gave you an
shot.
opportunity. He gave you an opportunity, and you wasn't ready. You wasn't ready for the moment. And it's okay though. You was being a great teammate.
You know what? I appreciate it. One of these days, we'll put our career earnings up there.
Oh my goodness. And with that,
Our career earnings.
speaking of finals, guys, Kyrie Irving is a finals guy.
Speaking of career earnings, let's talk about Kyrie Irving.
He dropped Irving, Richard.
Yes, we should.
It started against the Utah Jazz. I mean, he just went off in the fourth quarter. We're going to pick it up here with the Nets down by 2. Kyrie, I mean, doing what he does. Spins, gets it to go.
This is one thing. There's certain players that are Ferraris, right? And you just got to let them be on the racetrack. And there's certain players that, you know what? They're a very nice car that you take to the grocery store and you take to work every day. Kyrie is a Ferrari. You want this man on the racetrack going 100 miles an hour because no one can keep up with him. No one can stop him. And it was on full display this weekend.
Look where he's hitting all these shots from.
Yeah, deep, contested. And there is no Kevin Durant out there. And that's not to diminish the big fella. But we have seen Kyrie time after time after time, and I can speak firsthand, that he will hit big shot after big shot. Again, look at the score here. 108-105. He needs a sealer.
48 points in this game, 21 in the fourth quarter alone. The Nets get the win. 38 points. And then Sunday, Nets versus the Wizards. 48 then. Fourth quarter. Nets down 13.
Look at this. They're down 13 with 6 minutes to go to the Warriors team that never loses at home. That's not what they do. They win on they've been losing on the road and at home now, so we got to address that. But Kyrie going against Clay, we've seen this matchup for, 5-6 years now. Look at the score. They cut the deficit. Now look, down by 1, 30 seconds ago. They're going to Kyrie. He makes the right decision. He is a game manager. Look at this.
Fresh off that 48-point performance, he follows it up with 38, 9, and 7. Here's Kyrie after the game.
And I told you guys that I was putting a lot of pressure on myself to, be the first option or the second option or be the main one. And this is just a message for everybody at home, just like first option, second option, third option. It don't matter to me. It don't matter who has the ball in their hands as long as they're being aggressive. It's the best shot for our team. The objective of this team sport is to win basketball games, not identify one person to carry everybody every single night. And some nights it's gonna occur like that or seem like that. But for me, it's just the team attitude, team atmosphere, and living with the results for us playing well together and collectively.
All right, so you moonlight as a Nets on Yes analyst. What are your thoughts on Kyrie Irving here?
Well, that's funny because, I call a lot of games and here and there, but there's somebody that I want to talk to. Can we bring up the tape? Can we roll the tape? Look at this guy. Hey, Kendrick Perkins. Hey, Kendrick Perkins. Can we roll my tape? This ain't the face I want to see of Kendrick Perkins. Can we roll my tape? One of us here, one of us working out.
When Kyrie Irving came back off of his suspension, so many people lashed out. Oh, y'all need to apologize. The Brooklyn Nets are winning. They were winning because of Kevin Durant and how he was playing at like the best player in the world. It wasn't because of what Kyrie was doing, because now he has the opportunity. You have the pieces. You have the pieces. Again, we're not asking for the full course meal. We just want an appetizer. We just want to see, can you win regular season games for a short period of time as you being the leader and the go-to guy? And right now, the answer is no.
See, now everybody should have known he was lying the minute he said he just wanted an appetizer. He said he didn't want a full-size meal. Y'all know he was lying. Y'all should have called the cap on the first time, because what did our boy do? What did our boy do in these 2 games?
He gave us the appetizer for 2 games, exactly what I asked for. Before then, they were 0-4, and we wanted to see, could he deliver wins with putting up box office numbers like he did this weekend?
You must have forgot.
That's what we wanted
You must have forgot who Kyrie Irving was. Do we have some clips of what Kyrie was doing in the fourth quarter? Do we have his fourth quarter stats? Do we have his numbers? Because that's why I want to show Kendrick Perkins, the guy that says he wants an appetizer. Look at his numbers. 12 minutes, 3 for 7 against Golden State. 21 points in the fourth, 7 for 10. 21 points at Phoenix, at Golden State, at Utah. He leads all players in fourth quarter scoring. So that was my argument. That was never to diminish Kevin Durant. My biggest argument here was this, is that when they got on that stretch that they were on at the end of November through December and early January, Kyrie Irving was one of the best players in the NBA. He was the best player in the fourth quarter, leading scorer. So now, does it take a little bit of time? Hush your mouth. Does it take a little bit of time to get adjusted to being the star guy and having to get everyone involved? And he did that.
How?
So now
he's not a young player.
It does take some time because that hasn't been his role.
Why does it take time? Why does it take time?
Let me say this.
Why does it take time?
He doesn't understand this because he's never led a team in scoring. He doesn't understand that. You have to adjust your role.
But what you don't realize is this. This is what I don't like about you. When you get in front of the camera, you act different. Behind the scenes, you were agreeing with me.
I was never agreeing. I was on. See, that's right. See, this, people, ladies and gentlemen, this is where he will dispute it.
No, that's the truth.
Can we cut his mic? No, can we cut his mic?
All right, whether or not it is the amuse-bouche, the appetizer, the third course, the fourth course, you can get more in our NBA Wednesday doubleheader. It starts with... Let's stick in the West and start with Kawhi Leonard and the Clippers because the Claws weekend. It started in San Antonio, his old stomping grounds. He dropped a casual 36 against his former team. He was looking spry. A couple of fourth quarter dunks there. LA beat Coach Pop and the Spurs 131-126. And then their little Texas two-step. It continued against Luka and the Mavs yesterday. Kawhi had a game-high 30 points, giving him his most points in a two-game span since returning from injury. And don't look now, but the Clips, they have won consecutive games for the first time since December 27. So, bringing in our resident big man, Big Perk. Perk, at one point this year, you have this ever-fluid, changing list, and you thought that potentially the Clippers, they could be contenders to go to the finals. But since then, we started a little new segment here on NBA Today where you give us a word. So today, what is your word to describe Kawhi Leonard?
Well, it's not nothing, out of the ordinary. I ain't going into my French vocabulary or even Spanish vocabulary. I'm keeping it simple. It's Monday, I'm keeping it simple.
All right.
And it's the word gas. And I'm not talking about the one that come out your butt. I'm talking about gas. When something is solid but also deadly. That is Kawhi Leonard, right? We don't hear from him. We don't hear a lot. He don't speak a lot. We don't hear a lot from him for his interviews and things of that nature. But when he comes to play, he delivers in great fashion. And right now, I'm watching a Kawhi Leonard that is playing desperate, that he knows he has to take over the game. He's not waiting on nobody else. He's not waiting on Paul George, Reggie Jackson, Nicholas Batum, or Big Zubac. He's saying, give me the ball and let me turn back the hands of time and let me show the world that I'm healthy. Kawhi Leonard has been sensational over the last couple of games.
I'm not going to lie to you, Perk. I've only ever heard one thing be described as silent but deadly, but whatever you say, my friend, I'm just going to leave that there. And speaking of your interesting word, Perk, the Suns, they started off yesterday against Memphis, all gas. No breaks.
Oh,
that was against
Don't
the Grizzlies.
bring that over here.
You see what I did there? Wafting. Chris Paul was back in action after missing 7 games with a hip injury. He dropped 22 points, 11 dimes against the Grizzlies. That gives the Suns their 3rd straight win, the longest winning streak in over a month for them. So, still no Devin Booker today, but assuming that they get right, they get healthy here, could we be talking about them as true contenders in the West?
Let's be real here. Anybody's a contender in the West at this point, but I do think the recipe for success is getting their starting lineup healthy. Chris Paul, Devin Booker, Cam Johnson, Bridges, and DeAndre Ayton. When they're out there, they are amazing. Plus 43 in just 67 minutes. This year, that lineup has only played 67 minutes. And so if they're healthy, they absolutely can be 1-2, what we've been seeing the last few years. But the real X factor here, Malika, is Devin Booker. I mean, this guy is always knocking on the door of being a real, conversationalist in MVP.
Right.
He's always like 2 or 3 people away from like top 5. 27 points per game. When he's out there, no matter who else is out there, they can win regular season games. But to be able to be a real contender, they will need their starting 5.
Plus, it feels like the middle of the West is still very much up for debate.
Shoot,
but Denver, the bottom of the West, but Denver and Memphis, they're starting to create some separation.
They are.
Even with that loss. Thank you, my friend. All right. Another team in the thick of that murky part of the West, though, it's the Minnesota Timberwolves. They are tied with the Suns, a record of 500. So, joining my friend Richard Jefferson here because they took on the Rockets over the weekend. Anthony Edwards, buddy. I'm sorry, Janae. Let's take a look at this highlight real quick. This was all about Edwards. Richard.
This is what I'm going to say. Edwards was so impressive. Like, it's very, very rare do you get two bodies at once. Like, he dunking on everybody. And look, I'll go to Ja. When Ja said, look, apparently he didn't get the memo the first time, right? Look at this dunk, because this is what we have. Look, take a break. And look, I respect the big man, but you got to make better business decisions like this. And let me give you some examples. See, everybody wants to see the dunk. Everybody wants to see the love. I'll show you what I like to love.
Well, Richard, first take a listen to this.
The first one, now that I think about it, Nate told me it actually was pretty impressive due to the fact that I took off pretty far and it was with two hands. And he just was deep the whole night. So I told Kenyon Martin Jr. Coming out of halftime, I said, I'm going to dunk on him again because he's so far down the floor. And it ended up happening again, you know. But, nah, all praise to, I don't know how to pronounce his name, but number 28, Sengun. He good, man. He good.
An impressive game for Anthony Edwards. Minnesota gets the win, 113-104. So, Richard, I don't necessarily have a question for you, but as someone who was a former dunker, what did you see?
Current, I can still dunk a little bit.
You want to prove that?
I proved it in my little Gucci slides. We had that, but that's for another time. This is what I wanted to see. I don't know how we play this thing. Okay, so this is weird thing. We got this thing up already. This is what, when I dunk a ball or when I see a dunk, I don't like to look at I like to look at the crowd. I look at the other team's bench. If you can make them snap, then you're doing something. You're giving them a memory. Now we're gonna push play. I think that might be the button. All right. We already seen the dunk. We seen the dunk. We know it. Now we're gonna go some slow motion here because I want you guys to see the second dunk. Here we go. Keep going. That girl's face right there. I tried to pause it. This girl's face. How do I rewind this thing? There we go. Let's scooch this back a little bit. Is this thing going to work? Let's get it back. We're going to get it back. Oh, we're going to play it again. And we're going to do it. This girl's face right there. I know you didn't see it, and I'm not going to push this bump. I tried to do it, but her face looked like she had just seen a ghost. But that's not even the best one. My favorite one is when you get the other team. That's the highlight, and that highlight's coming live. I'm not going to snitch, but I want you guys to take a look at my guy Usman right there. I want you guys to keep a look, because as a dunker, when you can make the other bench be like, ooh, I'm not doing that next time. Now take a look. This is what we're gonna do. Ooh, he starts jumping back and you catch yourself. You're like, wait a second, he wasn't on our team. I want to look at that one more time, because that's my favorite thing when we start talking about dunking on bodies. Oh, my fault. I'm back on the same team. So those are the things that I look at when I see somebody doing dunks and highlight plays. I look at crowd reaction, and then I look at the other team. We know his boys are going to be hyped. We know that. But we want to see what the other team is going to do. And I'm snitching. I'm telling everybody, if one of your teammates get dunked on and you make a reaction, you're going to find yourself up on this big screen, and I'm going to figure out how to work this to really call y'all out.
You're so excited to talk about Anna Edwards that you're sweating. We'll get you a towel in the break. Still to come right here on NBA Today. Four-time WNBA champion Maya Moore Irons joined us to tell us her unbelievable story. I promise you're going to want to hear that.